evening, everyone, and welcome to the RSR Network. Tonight, we bring you Redline Racing, the K&N cars at Daytona. Tonight, we got 75 laps, and there are multiple drivers on this field. We're going to get to the starting grid here shortly, and we will bring you live coverage of this race. Starting on the pole is first Roger Buff with a 48.509. Starting next to him is Scott Liss Ramler. And starting in row 2, in third place, Tyler Davis. And in fourth, we got Anthony Smith Jr. And in the next row, in fifth, we got Bobby Tinch. And in sixth, we got Matthew Correa. Row 4, starting in seventh, we got Matthew Almani. And in 8th, Tyler Silva. Starting in 9th, we got David Keys. And in 10th, we got Jason Eisenhower. Starting 11th, we got Rocky Tittle. And then starting in 12th, we got Roderick Norman. Starting in 13th, we got Michael Lima. And 14th, David Ford. In row 8, we got Joaquin Effinger. And starting in 16th, we got Rob Haynes. Starting in the next row, row 9, 17th, Tony Golda, and 18th, Mickey Tuttle. Starting in 19th, we got Michael Held, and in 20th, Michael Sarley. Starting 21st, we got Marcus Napier. And starting in 22nd, PJ O'Leary. Starting 24th, we got Thomas LaBar, and in 25th, we got Mark Johnson. Row 13, 26, Jason Kinzer, and 27th, right next to him, is Ralph Slade. Starting in 28th, we got George Anzalin. In 29th, Noah Martin. Starting in 30th, we got Stephen Baird. In 31st, Michael Taylor. Starting in 32nd, we got Alex Russo. In 33rd, John Westbrook. Starting 34th, we got Austin Green. And 35th, Chuck Barrett. And the last person on this grid is starting in 36th place, Matthew Howard. That 16 car, Roger Buff, will lead this field down. The lights on the pace car are off. We are set to go green here shortly. Pace car makes that hard left down to pit road. Green flag's in the air. We are racing here at Daytona on the Redline Racing. So far, these drivers not quite making their way down. We still got a couple cars on the outside. Ooh, we got the 50 car there of Tyler Davis gets a little loose and into the car on the outside. Looks like everyone escaped that pretty okay right now. That 16 car, Roger Buff, pushing back up to the lead as he lost it momentarily. Scott Ramler in third place lets the drivers Roger Buff and Tyler Davis get down to the inside lane. Back over here, we're 3 wide. That 99 car of Matthew Correa right in the middle. Comes up a little bit. And the car behind him, the 20 car of Tony Golda, gets right behind him, and they are hooked up. I think those are the first cars on the outside. Go back up to the front here. Single file all the way back. Pretty much everyone is single file. A couple cars getting a little out of shape there. Not sure if temperatures are of a concern here at the moment. But maybe they're just riding it out right now. We are only on lap 3 at this point. That 20 car Tony Galda on the outside, slips to the inside right in front of that 42 machine of Michael Lima. And it looks like the last car on that lead pack there is this 68 of Rob Haynes. See, Rob Haynes currently going around 200 miles an hour. And behind him, trying to catch up to them, you see how much of a draft they're getting off of him. 205, 206 going into turn 1. Back up to the lead. Still Roger Buff in the lead. Tyler Davis second. Scott Ramler, your top 3. See, pretty much everyone is single file at this point. There is one car there on the outside, the black car. Can't quite get that number. Looks like it's the 21 of Rocky Tittle. So you got a car there below the yellow line. They have 3 wide there. Is Tony Galda. Oh, and there's a big wreck. Big wreck. Cars flying all over the place. The 33, David Keys. The 24 of Matthew Almani. Gonna go take a replay here. We'll go on board with the 33. He was the car up on the outside, that 24 car. They were fighting for that real estate, and something had to give, and a big wreck ensued here. We'll go back at it, looking at it again. See, that 20 car was right down there, and that 24 came right up into the 33 of David Keys. Multiple cars involved in that one. Looks like Marcus Napier was involved in that as well. He is getting some damage fixed on pit road. There's Marcus Napier, Rob Haynes, David Keys, and Matthew Almani, all down pit road. Go back up to the leader, and it looks like no one is going to come down pit road just yet. We got a few takers over here, starting it off with Mark Johnson in that 18. And right behind him, PJ O'Leary. Five car of Thomas LaBar, the 11 car of Jason Kinzer, and a few others. It looks like we have a smoker. That 36 of Jason Eisenhower. It looks like these drivers have an available fast repair. Not sure how many they will receive this whole race. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Welcome back to the RSR Network.
Now we got a great battle here so far, the Daytona National Speedway. Just a couple laps in, had a quick caution, but 75 lap main event under the lights at Daytona. A lot of good drivers here so far. We got a good field, 24 cars in the field, only 18 on the lead lap. Roger Bluff.
Alright, sorry for the technical difficulties trying to get some microphone volume straightened out here. We got Avery Mack up here in the booth with me.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Got a good battle here so far. I had a quick caution here, Kevin, but definitely could have a good opportunity for good racing at this 75 lap main event at Daytona National Speedway under the lights.
Currently on lap 8, we are under caution for that wreck involving multiple cars.
It was a pretty big wreck.
The main one involved the David Keys in the 33 and the 24 of Matthew Almonte, and other cars involved in that wreck. The lights on the pace car are off, which means we are 1 to go. Signal for the restart. This time by.
Yeah, these K&N cars are a little bit different cars than what we normally drive or normally see on the Super Speedway, being the top 3 NASCAR series. But they're a great car in the Super Speedway. Definitely one of the better racing I've seen. I've seen a lot of great races with these K&N cars, so I think we got a treat. With Roger Buff out front, Tyler Davis looks to be in second. Gonna have to get a good restart. Hopefully get a little help on the outside line with the draft, or as in the IndyCar world, the tow.
One thing about these cars, the older style Cup cars, you can push, but it's gonna be real tricky. Those bumpers don't line up as they used to with the old COT cars, and similar to the Gen 6. Overheating really shouldn't be an issue here, but we'll see how that plays out. It might be, but at this point, I don't think the temperatures are going to be raised up on those engines in those cars.
Yeah, this steel tube-frame chassis, 358 cubic inches, or also known as a 5.8 liter. It's a good motor. These guys are going to really be giving it the biscuits and gravy. Getting ready to come out of Ford. That pace car, that Ford FR500 Mustang, the only Ford on the track right now, going to make that hard left-hand turn into the pit road. Getting ready to start lap number 10 at the Daytona National Speedway for the Red Line Racing League on the Random Sim Racing. Green flag is out here at Daytona National Speedway for the first restart. Good start for Roger Buff. He's going to be able to clear Tyler Davis. Hopefully he can get a...
Roger Buff currently still in the lead. That 50 car of Tyler Davis trying to get some of the side draft off of Roger. Slips back a little bit, and he is... Oh, we got a big wreck back there. Scott Raymer was the main casualty in that one. We'll take a look on the replay here. You see that 57 of Scott Ramler and Tyler Davis. Look like there might have been some netcode there, not sure, but you see the chaos ensuing behind them. Car going end over end there. It's hard to tell what car that is, as there is no number.
Yeah, the 57 just kind of came down a little bit on him. That was no numbered car that was flipping, but that was Marcus Napier driving the Voodoo Ride Chevrolet. X doesn't have a Chevrolet logo on it, but yeah, it looks like, trying to get clear when he can and just wasn't there.
Can you confirm that a little bit of a netcode on your screen there?
Definitely check that out for you. These drivers, this is kind of a game of patience. If you watched earlier today's race and the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series, Gotta have a lot of patience.
Yeah, you're right about that, Avery. We're only 11 laps in here so far. I don't think that wreck really could have been helpful towards having some green flag racing. Of course it did, but you know, it's really hard to know if your spotter is right or wrong in here, and maybe his spotter did tell him, hey, you're clear high or what have you, but you know, it's real tough for these drivers. It's a headache for the spotters, it's a headache for the drivers. You know, just one little slip up and your day can be done.
I mean, yeah, it looked like a little bit of net code, but it really looked like a little lack of patience. But, you know, we have 75 laps. These drivers do have 2 fast repairs. Fortunately, a lot of guys have already used 1 or their 2nd fast repair. But Mr. Buff out in front, the number 16, and see if he can hold the lead coming out of pit road here.
Look like Jason Eisenhower in the 36 machine elects to stay out.
Yeah, tires and fuel. I mean, really, tires don't mean much at the, you know, on the super speedways. Obviously, you got to take them when you're pitting. But you know, he elected to stay out. Track position, you know. Usually, track position is pretty good here on these super speedways. You can ask Ricky Stenhouse that for winning today's race. He had good track position in the end and the beginning.
And what a day it was for him too. He would, you know, start in the front, went to the back, had some damage, and winning the race and having Jack Roush back in victory lane. You know, being based, I'm from Detroit, Michigan, the Livonia, the Roush Industries. Their headquarters is here in Michigan, so it's nice to see Jack Roush back in victory lane, and especially for the 4 camp. They've been strong all year so far.
Yeah, definitely. Roush Fenway Racing they were struggling quite a bit last year. You know, they lost a driver in Greg Biffle, a very experienced driver, but they only have 2 young guns, Trevor Bain and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Both of them have one of the super speedways, being Trevor Bain's was the Daytona 500 with the Wood brothers. But yeah, those 2 drivers have impressed me so far this year. And it's definitely with Ryan Blaney, the other Ford driver, young driver.
Yeah, he's been real hot too as of late. But Kyle Larson, he's been the real story, being pretty much the best driver almost consistently, other than Jimmy Johnson winning the past couple races here a couple weeks ago. But you know, we got a lot of racing that's going on. We're early on in the season, but tonight you're watching Red Line Racing, the K&N cars at Daytona. 13 laps in under caution.
I got 16 cars on the lead lap, but in the 16th you have Stephen Baird. He's got some heavy right rear damage, but he's going to get that car back out there. Going to try to get some of that points. In the 93, Chuck Barrett, great numbers. He's got some rear end damage, quite a bit. And DJ O'Leary, a little bit of rear end damage. So yeah, drivers definitely have damage. We got kind of damage there on the 24, the Jeff Gordon DuPont paint scheme. But really, if you can stay in the draft and don't have like a ton of damage, well, you might be okay. But still, looks to be 2 to green here at the Daytona National Speedway. Your leader is Jason Eisenhower driving the Matchbox Chevrolet in 2nd. Matthew Carrera in the Snap-on car. The Underground Racing, Roger Buff, he was your leader before the caution, fell back to 3rd. And Bobby Tinch in 4th. And rounding out your top 5 is Anthony Smith Jr. driving the Virginia's Impala SS, the Flames. Looks like the pace cars are going to shut those lights off, and that's going to signal 1 to go here at the Daytona National Speedway for the Red Line Racing League with the K&N cars here at Daytona.
For a second, I didn't think that they were going to turn off. On my screen, there was a little bit of a delay. But no, they are turned off.
2 wide here at the Daytona National Speedway. That's how the restarts are going to be for today. A great virtual crowd here on the YouTube, and a great virtual crowd as always on the stands here on iRacing. Racing under the lights here at Daytona is huge, Kevin. To win at Daytona is even bigger. What does it? You've won at Daytona some big time races. What's it mean as a driver to go and win at one of the greatest tracks in NASCAR?
It's real huge. You know, the whole race is it's pretty much a nightmare up until you cross the start-finish line on that last lap. You can have a couple strategies go wrong your way, going pit early, trying to work with some people. You know, you really have to play it by ear. You know, you want to have a set plan sometimes, and sometimes that plan can't be executed, and you have to improvise and make a new plan. So it's got to take a real lot of head thinking here and trying to make the best decision to find your car in victory lane.
Yeah, definitely. You know, this is a great track. You know, I've been here a couple times for the Rolex 24. Never here for a NASCAR race, but I just couldn't imagine how exciting it would be for one of those races. But the pace car, the Ford FR 500, running the iRacing paint scheme, gonna get ready to duck their way down into pit road. Get the second restart of the day for the Redline Racing League. Hopefully get some green flag action for you. Pace car makes his way off. Green flag is out here at the Daytona National Speedway. Eisenhower on the inside, Carrera on the outside. Buff going to try to help Eisenhower out on the inside. Got 4 cars on the inside, a great train, and only 2 on the outside. They're going to try to make a run, but definitely needed some more guys up there to make that run, Kevin.
Yeah, those cars on the outside trying to make something happen here. They're not hooked up. I don't think they're going to make their way up to the front, but there's going to be help from behind them. Shortly, you see that 55 jumping to the outside. Going to try to help that 99 of Matthew Correa. You see Matthew getting a little bit loose there, getting into turn 3. But right now, it's all about Jason Eisenhower in that 36 machine, currently in first place. And right
Eisenhower out in front. Eisenhower out in front. We're getting help from Roger Buff, who led the majority of the race till the last caution. Buff on the bumper of Eisenhower, trying to pull away from the outside of the number 16. Roger Buff goes high. I wonder if what was either got hot or got a little bit tight, but they're 3 wide for second. The 99 of Carrera trying to get to the lead with help from Roderick Norman. Norman clears the middle lane. They're going to move down to the middle lane. Roderick Norman gets down into Jason Eisenhower, and the caution is out. Roderick Norman tried to work his way to the bottom, really get over second place, but Eisenhower was there.
Gonna go look on the replay here to see exactly what happened. See the lead there, Jason Eisenhower. Drivers behind them, 3 wide. It's Roger Buff there in the middle.
You know what? I don't like to put blame on anyone, but it was kind of a little bit of a, both kind of did a little bit. Eisenhower came up a little bit going into the turn, but then Roderick Norman came down a little bit. Contact was obviously made in the Extreme Motorsports 99 Matchbox Chevrolet. Eisenhower was in the lead, fell back to third, and now he is
And while all that was happening, the new leader, that 99 machine of Matthew Correa, looks like he made it past through there unscathed.
He got a great run on the outside from Roderick, and then, you know, that's where the carnage happened, but he was able to get to the lead and maintain lead here at Daytona. You know, that's a tough thing. Sometimes you got those cars making a run. Let's take a look and see if anybody's going to make their way down into pit road. Carrera looks like he's going to come. Second place of Lima's going to go. The top 5 cars are going to go through pit road. Looks like top cars are going to make their way down pit road and make their way, take 4 tires. Maybe they'll take 2, and then they're going to take a little bit of fuel and line her back up and try it again for the third restart of the day. We've had 3 cautions so far. Not what the Redline Racing crew was hoping for, but, you know, that's what we got today. We got 3 cautions on lap 17.
See some drivers electing to take some tires, some no tires, some fuel. Stick around here on the RSR network. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
I actually, really enjoy dirt racing. Feels good to get in the car, and we have, great cars and engines and things at KKR. So it's nice to drive a fast sprint car.
Couple of separate lines developing. Three wide action on a turn two. Craig Kitzer, Casey Kane, and Kieran Pittman going at it.
I think the differences between, NASCAR and the sprint races on dirt is just a much different mindset. The way you drive your cars, the setup, the feel you're looking for. I think one of the hardest things to tell as a fan is when you're watching a race, whether it's a NASCAR race, a dirt race, is just what's really going on in the car. With iRacing, you can get the way that the track's changing, which they've done a great job in how the track changes throughout the night or throughout the race, just to try to capture it and let the fans play it and realize, like, man, there's actually a lot going on, and you can't always see that when you watch a race. So I think it's pretty neat. It's, enjoyable for me, but at the end of the day, it's actually much of a simulation, and there's a lot of ways that you can learn from that. And, early on, it was neat to look at the Cup tracks that I was going to, places that I had never been. So I think it kind of gives you a head start leading into a weekend. It's pretty real life, and that's pretty neat.
So cool, yeah. Nate, what are you working on at the moment?
So I'm working on the animation for the game. We're working on getting pit crews fully developed, and that involves a lot of moving parts. So I'm going in and making sure that each moving part can dovetail smoothly into the next one, so that when you pull in for a pit stop, it looks like the real thing, as opposed to a bunch of jumbled pieces that suddenly stop and then go and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's so cool, but why aren't you working on the time model? Nothing?
Welcome back to the RSR network. We're ready to go green here shortly. The lights on the pace car are off, and your leader, Anthony Smith Jr., will set this field off for a restart in first place.
Yeah, looks like Junior is out in front, Carrera's in second, Lima third, and Matthew Almany in fourth. The field has slimmed down a little bit, but the pace car is going to get ready to make that hard left-hand turn into pit road for our next restart. on the Red Line Racing League. Pace car off. Green flag is back out here at the Daytona International Speedway. Smith out in front. Carrera trying to make it to the inside of the 42. Not going to take that, but the outside was looking to get a run with the 24 of Almany, and we got Scott out right behind him, was going to give him a little push with the other DuPont Chevrolet out here, but the inside line is starting to move, but Scott on the outside pushing Almany on the outside. What a run. Going to the lead is Matthew Almany, number 24. DuPont Automotive finishes Chevrolet.
Oh, that 18 come right in front of that 51. And Smith.
Wow, that was a great move to get the lead. If you can make a run on the outside line, here we go, 74. The number 74 of number 8.
See, these drivers are getting antsy. Still early on in this race, have yet to reach the halfway point of this race.
Yeah, 74 of Effinger, he is a lap down, so he is trying to get his lap back the hard way. Getting help from the outside of Thomas Labar. Gonna go side by side into turn number 3. Labar looking to get the lead over Almany, and they're just battling there, and the 74 pulls down in front to try to maintain on the lead lap, and he is waiting for the caution. But we want to see green flag racing with the Texas Auto Club. 74 leading the inside pack, and the number 5, the Mac Tool Chevrolet on the outside, getting help from Roger Buff.
So we'll go on board here with the 18.
On board now with Mark Johnson, the 12th. He's not the 12th, obviously, but running the Z-Line Design Chevrolet. He's just kind of waiting his time. He's sitting in around the 7th and 8th position, waiting for the live timing to update us across the start-finish line. But the guy who's making a run right now, that is Rocky Tittle. Now, who's falling back? That's number 24, Matthew Almany. He was up in the front, and he's just starting to fall back a little bit. I don't know if he's a little uncomfortable, but that's what's happening right now. He's falling back to 7th place, Kevin.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to creep up to the high line and trying to make something work there, but he's losing a lot of speed. The car behind him at 57, he's off the pace, the 24 car.
Roderick Norman looking on the outside. He's got some help. He's got a lot of help from Jason Kinzer, the number 11. They're going to try to get to the lead. Now remember, Roger Buff, he's the one that's helping out Thomas Labar. He has been out in front for most of this race, been in the top 5 the whole race. But right now, Roderick Norman going to go side by side for the lead as they cross the start-finish line. It's going to be Labar by 0.009 seconds. That was too cool. We got lap 25 of 75 for this main event for the Red Line Racing League here at the Daytona International Speedway. Now, Kevin.
Yeah.
We see side drafting here with Roderick Norman. Can we tell our viewers, explain what that side draft does and why do you want to get so close side with the car next to you?
Well, what side drafting does, it's taking air off the car next to you, therefore slowing him down. You can really get a jump up from there and try to make a pass on these cars here. It can work, and it has been done before in the past.
Norman getting a good run on the outside, also still getting that help from the number 11 of Jason Kinzer. Labar going to lead lap number 25 here at Daytona. They're still side by side as they go into turn number 1, and Labar going to try to hold onto the lead, getting help from Buff. I've watched a couple of these guys race before, but right now, that Roger Buff, he knows what he's doing. He's a super speedway kind of guy, and I like that. Driving the underground racing, number 16 Chevrolet.
Looks like this lead pack here, 9 cars. The last one in the pack, the 57 of Scott Ramler. And there is a small 3-car pack behind them, 10th place, 11th, and 12th. Michael Lima, Matthew Correa, and Chuck Barrett.
Hate to interrupt here, but Buff worked his way to the outside line to lead that lap. New leader here at the Daytona National Speedway. Buff is going to keep leading this race like he's been doing all day. you got to remember one thing, Kevin. These cars do have a fuel limit of 50%, so they're gonna, have to use that. And to keep that in mind, that you can't run full fuel runs, obviously, with that 50% fuel.
Yeah, pit strategy is going to come into play here. Not sure exactly what type of strategies you can work out at this point in the race. But right now, for Roger Buff, he's not saving any gas whatsoever. He's pedal to the metal, over 200 miles an hour, coming across the start-finish line.
Yeah, Labar getting a lot of help from Kinzer. If I was anybody on this field, if there's anybody I want in my rear view, that's the number 11 of Jason Kinzer. He's by far, I think, one of the best drafters so far I've seen today. Not saying the other guys aren't good, but he has gotten people to the front countless times. 28 laps. Here goes. The block goes by Buff. He's going to hold the outside line. He's going to slow up Thomas Labar. Saw that earlier today, Kevin. These drivers are going to have to adjust to which lane is faster. Might have been a little early for that, but we're racing here, Daytona National Speedway, baby.
You really got to be careful when you do that. When you come up onto a driver who has a lot of momentum, it's going to be up to him to get out of the gas and not destroy your car. So there's going to be you're going to want to be mindful with the drivers around you.
Yeah, Labar led that lap by .002 seconds. You're going to get a lot of close finishes here at Daytona National Speedway because of the draft or the tow. But right now, Labar going side by side with the 16 of Roger Buff. Kids are helping him on the outside, and then Roderick Norman helping him out on the inside, the Canadian. Great to see some fellows from above the border. They're great people. He's a great super speedway racer. I've seen him race plenty of times on multiple broadcasts, multiple races. The guy I'd like to be racing with on the super speedway.
Now we have a third pack here, starting with the 13th place driver, the 36 of Jason Eisenhower. There's a 4-car pack there, David Ford, PJ O'Leary, and Matthew Almani. These drivers are going to be fighting to stay on the lead lap, as they are currently a half a lap down. Still on the lead lap.
If they want to stay on the lead lap, they need to get in the line and they need to start moving, because if you just keep mumbling and jumbling around, you're not going to go anywhere. So these drivers need to get in a line and they need to start working together.
Back up to the front here. Roger Buff still in the lead. And that 5-car of Thomas Labar on his outside. Not quite to his door yet. He's door to door with the second place driver. Not anymore, as he gets a little loose and up into the 5 a little bit. No contact, but it slowed down the momentum of that 5-car.
Yeah, last time around, Labar and Norman tied at the line. They were going to be catching up to the lap car of Stephen Baird. Has quite a bit of damage driving the Orca Cooler Chevrolet. He's going to go to the apron, make his way down into pit road to stay out of the way. Remember, it's very, very courteous of him, Kevin. Very courteous.
Yeah, it's probably shows a lot of respect. He's saying probably, I don't want to get in trouble with any of these drivers. I'm multiple laps down. Play it safe. It looked like there might have been some contact there, as we look like we're going to go three wide almost here. Not quite. We got those 3 cars on the outside. Another car jumps to the outside.
Yeah, Kinzer on the outside, Labar on the outside, and the number 16 of Roger Buff on the outside. The inside is led by Roderick Norman, followed by Bobby Tinch, followed by Mark Johnson. So we got 3 on the inside, 3 on the outside, kind of like a great battle here today. You got cars helping each other on the out and also on the inside. Some great racing here at Daytona National Speedway. We had a couple of cautions in the beginning, but it's really starting to see the super speedway race that we want to see. Scott List is working his way up the bottom, trying to pass the number 11 of Jason Kinzer.
Yeah, you're right about that, Avery. We've seen a couple lead changes since we took the green flag here. Looks like these drivers want to race. There's still a lot of racing left here, but somewhat semi-aggressive racing here to keep that lead. Roger Buff really wants that lead, but Roderick Norman is not having none of that right now.
Yeah, definitely the outside line is, you know, the way to get around on this track, because I think you can just get that run out of that corner and just kind of work your way to the lead and then slide down. Now, last time around, if we had this finish, it would have been pretty awesome because on the timing and scoring, it only goes back 3 digits for us, but they were tied at the line.
Yeah, that would have been incredible stuff there. Who knows, we still might have that happen on the last lap here. Only time will tell.
Yeah, Norman getting a lot of help from, looks to be Bobby Tinch. Roger Buff on the outside. Great battle here, side-by-side action at the Daytona International Speedway. It's not surprising to see this because when you come to Daytona, this is when the side-by-side action happens.
See, only 2 cars down the outside. Roger Buff and Thomas LeBar. Everyone else single file. Roger Buff really wants to maintain that lead, but currently coming up short as the 11 car of Jason Kinzer jumps up a little bit to the outside, but he's like, psych.
A little psychedelic action coming here to Daytona. We got good racing, dog. It's just to check up a little bit on the inside line with Roderick Norman out in front.
See Anthony Smith Jr. struggling a little bit. I think he'll be okay at this point. 2 cars behind them, Rocky Tittle, Matthew Correa, trying to make it back up to that lead pack as they lost it a little bit here.
Yeah, they just passed Stephen Baird on the inside. That's going to put him 3 laps down here at Daytona. Only car on with 1 lap down is Effinger, the number 74, and he was the one that worked his way to the front on the restart. He's still kind of in the pack. If he was running on the lead lap, he would have been 10th car in this pack, but right now it's kind of a 3-3 battle right now, Kevin. Kind of do a little follow the leader. If you see an opening, you take it, but you're not going to see too much aggression here.
Now these cars are 2 by 2 by 2 going into turn 3 here at Daytona International Speedway. That 55 car has been leading quite a few laps here. Currently 10 lead changes throughout this race thus far. Roger Buff still wants that lead, but he can't quite make it happen as they lost a partner on that outside. And you see them drop in line. Now we're single file. Robert Norman, Bobby Tinch, Mark Johnson, Roger Buff, and Thomas LeBar, your top 5. And it looks like my top 5 ticker is not quite working. We only see 1, 2, and 3, but 3 and 4 are missing. But I guarantee you they are still on the racetrack.
Oh yeah. Great racing here, Daytona. Less side-by-side action here with the Red Line Racing League on the RSR network. Still quite a ways to go here.
Seeing Scott Rambler having quite a bit of an issue there. Hits the apron, gets loose, has to check up, loses a lot of speed as he's going 195, catches up a little bit. I think he'll be okay, but he's quite a bit away from that lead pack. About 2 seconds from the leader. See Matthew Correa in 9th. Right behind him, Michael Lima in 10th, and Chuck Barrett right behind him. That's that second pack. And that third pack, Jason Eisenhower leading that one in 12th place. And right behind him, David Ford in the 9 machine. in 14th, a 24 car, Matthew Almani. And PEG Larry rounds out that pack.
Big run from the Orca Cooler 78, who's 3 laps down, crosses the line. Now he's 2 laps down.
We do have a couple drivers coming down pit road. See Bobby Tinch, Roger Buff, Thomas LeBar, and Mark Johnson all down pit road. You see we have the timing up for Bobby Tinch. We're going to see how good of a pit stop he gets here. That left side goes up. 2 left side tires, no right sides, and some fuel, and he is off. And a 6.9 second pit stop. Gonna go back up to the lead here, see if anyone comes down pit road this time. Ooh, looks like someone locked it up a little bit. Driver there coming up. I think we're gonna have a caution here. No caution.
And no
that
caution.
Was a tough break there for the 55 of Roderick Norman.
He's still kind of struggling to get that car underway, trying to avoid. Well, he does go through pit road. That might.
And I think I don't know if we're gonna have a caution here. He gets it back down on the apron, so no caution. Back to the lead, Scott Ramler. He took over the lead through this exchange of pit stops. Coming down pit road right now.
Roderick Norman's day is over.
And that's Anthony Smith Jr. right behind him. But Matthew Correa in 3rd place. He's going to inherit the lead here if he does not come down pit road. And looks like he will. Couple couple drivers having some issues coming down pit road. You see that was Matthew Correa.
Anthony Smith also having problems getting back underway. It looks like he got on the gas a little bit too quick, spilling the tires a little bit, and drivers have a little bit of problems. I don't know what the deal is, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. See Anthony Smith Jr. currently in the lead. That was a great pit stop for him. But you see the pack there. They have a lot of momentum. They're not quite up to speed, but Roger Buff gains the lead again through that exchange of pit stops. See, the field's pretty much spread out a little bit here. Looks like you got a pack of 4 cars, a single car, and another almost a pack of 4 cars right behind them.
We had problems for the number 42 on the back straightaway. Gets up onto the outside wall all by himself, but right now the bottom. It's Buff, Kanzer for the lead. Johnson on the inside also, but the driver of the Orca Coolers, number 78, is currently on 2 laps down, might be 3. Catching lap traffic, Kevin?
Yeah, we know that the 24 had a really bad pit stop. He's going to be put a lap down, Matthew Almani. Not a good race for him at this point. Contact 60.
Contact with Baird with David Ford. That's all I gotta say. Not quite sure what happened there, Kevin, but
we'll take a look at the replay. You see Stephen Baird gets up a little bit, collects the 24 of Matthew Almani, and more chaos ensues as you see his car toppling end over end, barrel rolling, coming to a complete rest on all 4 tires before flipping multiple times in turn 1.
that's a That's a bummer, but we're going to have a caution that's going to stack the field back up here at the Daytona National Speedway for our 4th caution of the day. Our longest green flag run also of the day was there.
Looks like your lucky dog's going to be David Ford. I can't quite confirm that yet, but it looks like he will receive it.
I don't think he's going to. He was the one that made contact.
Oh, he was the one who made contact. Okay, because then it's going to go to a driver who did not receive any contact. But one who really caught a break on that one was Jason Eisenhower and PJ O'Leary. They were quite a ways back there in that 4-car draft. They are scored on the lead lap as it stands right now. See these drivers, I'm pretty sure we're going to see everyone down pit road here to fill up their machines with some Sunoco fuel. Possibly some tires, but who knows?
Yeah, no one knows.
See Roger Buff. See what kind of pit stop he has. Currently overshoots his pit stall. You see the 66 car coming out first. Bobby Tinch, and in front of him, right behind him is Scott Rambler. And Roger Buff comes out 3 with a 5.9 second pit stop. Tires are hot there. It's a little slick, gets on the gas a little bit, luckily enough not to get into anyone, or the wall for that fact. So Bobby Tinch inherits the lead after a great pit stop by his pit crew.
Well, Kevin, we've had a great side-by-side action there. Cars are getting the wave around. Those cars being Carrera, Effinger, Ford.
And stick around. We'll be right back on the RSR Network with the Red Line Racing K&N Cars at Daytona. We'll be right back.
You know, the straights are unbelievably long. The first time you come here, everyone tells you, you'll be flat out 6th gear for 20 seconds. First time I was here, I lifted halfway down the straight. I didn't believe that it was still going. I was waiting to brake, and I was back on the power. And the Porsche curves are extremely fast and extremely narrow, so it's a tricky track. And every year I've come here, you learn something new every time.
Le Mans is so fast. Wherever you accelerate, you are over 150 miles per hour. Going there, I realized everything you have done before was nothing.
Welcome back to the RSR Network, the Redline Racing K&N cars at Daytona. The lights on the pace car are off. We will be getting the green flag here momentarily. Bobby Tinch gains the lead after a great pit stop by his pit crew. Currently in turn 4. See, we are past halfway, going to be taking lap 50 here at Daytona International Speedway. See, that pace car makes that hard left down to pit road. Bobby Tinch is on the gas, and we are back to green flag racing.
Yeah, back green flag here at the Daytona International Speedway. Side-by-side action here. It's been like that for the last green flag run. And it's going to be like this till the end.
See Roger Buff giving Bobby Tinch a great push here. But there are cars on the outside. That 57 car of Scott Ramler. And the 11 car of Jason Kinzer. So riding on board here with Chuck Barrett in the 93 machine. See that outside line getting a great run, but Scott Ramler makes that pass, drops down to the low, and is your new leader.
Yeah, new leader here at Daytona National Speedway. Ramler on the inside, Buff working the outside with help from Kinzer. Kinzer's been helping all along. Buff went to go low, but he realized, no, I can't go there quite yet. He needs more help from Kinzer, the Mountain Dew Chevrolet on the inside.
Looks like there was an incident behind the leaders there. Matthew Correa and others involved. Mark Johnson. You see Matthew Correa was off the pace there, had some smoke coming out of his car, but we are still green at this point. See Roger Buff trying to retain that lead, but Scott Ramler is getting a great push from Bobby Tinch. See the two cars on the outside. Roger Buff, the favorite to win this race. And behind him, Jason Kinzer. Those are the only two cars on the outside trying to make something happen here. See that 42 car, Michael Lima, he says hello on the outside. Trying to give those two cars of Roger Buff and Jason Kinzer some help.
Trying to help on the inside, and also there's help on the outside. Some great battle here so far.
He's riding on board with Mike Lima, 203 going into turn 1. See, he drops down to the inside. And Jason Kinzer still on that outside, trying to make something happen. Scott Ramler still in the lead. See that 5 car, Thomas Labar, in front of Roger Buff. Those are the only 2 cars on the outside. Trying to make some moves here. We are getting close to the end of this race. There'll be 20 laps to go when they hit the start-finish line this time by. You see that lead pack there, 6 cars. We'll run it all by position. Scott Ramler, Bobby Tinch, Thomas Labar, Roger Buff, Jason Kinzer, and Michael Lima. That will be your lead pack. And behind them, we have a 3-car pack. Leading that one is Anthony Smith Jr., Chuck Barrett, and in 9th, Jason Eisenhower.
Yeah, definitely some great battling here so far here at Daytona. Kevin, some great racing, side-by-side action, but that's what we expect, you know, from, you know, for these types of races.
Now we do have a driver behind here in 10th, PJ O'Leary. He is quite a bit ways up from the lead pack. He is showing 15 seconds from the leader, 10 seconds from the next car in front of him. But we're gonna hop back up to the front here. Michael Ramler still in the lead, but Jason Kinzer looks to make his way up to the front as they are side by side coming down the backstretch. See that 42 car, Michael Lima, giving Jason Kinzer a nice push. You see Roger Buff, he's thinking about it, trying to make that outside line work, but he says, nope, none of that. I'm good right here for right now.
Got some great battle here, side-by-side action. Into that Mountain Dew Chevrolet, excuse me, that got Ramler out in front. The outside is helped with Kinzer. Lima helping him out on the outside. Kind of trying to back him up a little bit to get a little bigger run. Lima looks to go low. He goes low and leaves Kinzer all alone on the outside. Lap car coming up. That is Matthew Correa, sitting in 11th position, who was battling very hard for lead, but some problems caused him to fall back.
Yeah, he had that really bad pit stop, and he really hasn't recovered since. Or maybe I'm thinking of another driver. I think I'm thinking of the 24. Matthew Almani. He had a bad pit stop, but he is currently showing in the 17th position. Receiving damage fixtures down pit road.
Yeah, Kevin, we've seen some great racing so far. Who are some of the drivers that have kind of stuck out and, you know, kind of impressed you?
I wouldn't necessarily say impressed, but he's been pretty good all race, and that's Roger Buff. Can't quite say about anyone else. Maybe Thomas Labar. He's currently in 6th place, and Jason Kinzer in 5th. But these other guys, I'm not really sure. It's really hard to tell. Currently single file here. Looks like these drivers, not sure if they're gonna have to make a pit stop, one last pit stop. They might have to, and I believe they will. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens here what drivers come in what time, who's going to work with who. There's going to be a lot of different strategies here. See, we got a car wobbling back and forth there. That's that 42 machine of Michael Lima. Not sure if the handling wasn't handling well, or if he couldn't make up his mind if he wanted to go high, go low, or maybe he was just playing some mind games.
Yeah, the outside is Lima. He's trying to help out. Oh, Lima goes to the bottom. He thinks he's able to get around Roger Buff, but, you know, Bobby Titch might try to go to the outside, because you need to be on the outside to pass the leader. Otherwise, it ain't happening, Kevin. It ain't not happening.
Oh, we got a turn.
Contact.
66 gets into the 57 of Scott Ramler, and he goes hard into the inside wall.
Yeah, he just kind of pushed them in the left rear, which caused him to go around. I mean, there's so many drivers involved in that, Kevin. We're gonna have such. That's too bad. That's too bad.
Yeah, a couple drivers involved in that one. The 42, 57, 66. See, that 42 got a lot of damage.
Only drivers to really get through that was the 11 and the 5 and the 78. And
did Roger get involved in that one? Looks like he does have some damage on that car.
Roger Buff ran out in front almost this whole entire race, and he just gets caught up in a mess. He's he's got damage problems.
He still might have a fast repair Avery here. Who knows? He's we'll find out here shortly when they open up pit road, and he's going to come down and possibly get some of that damage fixed, or his fast repair.
Yeah, he's running great. Just great. Just unfortunate for that. I mean, just so unfortunate.
Looked like there was a little bit of some netco, but like I said before, these cars, they don't hook up like we've been accustomed to here in the past couple years. The noses are kind of round, as well as the bumpers.
Roger Buff gets into the number 11 of Jason Kinzer going into the pits. Not quite sure what happened.
Looks like Roger Buck did indeed have a fast repair. He got lucky there. He is your leader. You see some strategy playing out here. Jason Eisenhower was staying out of trouble behind the lead pack. He must have knew something was up, and he finds himself in the second place in the closing laps here at Daytona. And everyone stick around for these final laps. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
time.
Okay, cool. I've got this time. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget that the next round of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, powered by iRacing.com. Sorry, I keep on messing that one up. Why are you changing name all the time?
Just do it one more time. Do it one more time.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget the next round of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, powered by iRacing, will take place on Tuesday from 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Catch it on iRacing Live. Join Evan and the gang for what will hopefully be another fantastic race. Some of the best sim racing you'll ever see on the internet. Better?
Good, perfect. Thanks.
Cool.
Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. The Red Line Racing K&N cars at Daytona. The lights on the pace car are off. We will be 10 to go when the green flag is raised. Roger Buff in the lead and quietly makes his way up to the front. Haven't seen him all day in this lead pack. That 36 car of Jason Eisenhower.
Yeah, pace car getting ready to make that hard left-hand turn for 10 laps to go here at the Red Line Racing League for Daytona International Speedway Week 1. Roger Buff on the inside, Eisenhower on the outside. Kinzer going to give Buff the push. Smith going to try to help out Eisenhower, but the restart advantage goes to the bottom. Going into turn number 1. Buff, 51 of Smith chops the nose off of Bobby Tinch and goes to the inside, going to try to get around the 36 of Eisenhower. Eisenhower all alone. Free single file most of the way. Battling now the 5. O'Leary trying to help out, but then here comes Tinch to the outside, going to try to get help from Eisenhower, the 93 Alabama Chevrolet. Oh, Eisenhower's just falling back. Feel bad for him. Was trying to help a guy on the outside, and then they had to bail on him. But single file from the top 7. Here comes on the outside, number 5, using the side draft, 51, excuse me, using the side drafting technique that Kevin said earlier. Here comes Anthony Smith Jr. going on the outside of Buff. Kevin, they're going to use that side draft. How well is it going to work for him?
It depends on how it's going to work for them. If they're going to be real close and you see the gap there, you can fit a couple cars there, not going to get the speed that they want. Finally comes down a little bit, but you have to be careful here to not make contact with that car, or else we're going to have another wreck here.
Yeah, we do not want to see another wreck here. We want to see green flag to the end. Side drafting for Smith. The 93 has made a big run from the back of that little pack and working his way. They make a little contact as they go through the tri-oval. Smith makes a little contact with the 93 of Barrett. Buff out in front. Kinzer trying to help. Barrett pushing Kinzer. And here comes the outside of Smith. He looks like he might get a little help. No, they got to dive down to the bottom. Everybody's single file except for the junior. Bobby Tinch looking in front of them. They are side drafting so hard. Kevin, I am surprised nobody's trying to help out on the outside, so they're in that position to make the run towards the end.
Yeah, you see a driver there, that 51 car of Anthony Smith Jr. We're going to go on board here with Jason Eisenhower to see exactly what kind of speed he's getting here. See a couple drivers making their way to the outside. We're getting on the closing laps here. 7 laps to go here at Daytona International Speedway.
Yeah, Kevin, side-by-side action from third on back. The leaders are trying to work together. The biggest thing is when is someone going to move to the outside to try to make the pass? That's the way it's going to happen here.
Well, currently you see here only the 66 and the 5 car on the outside, Thomas Labarde and Bobby Tinch. They have a little bit of momentum here going into the tri-oval. We'll see what Jason Eisenhower does here. Maybe he'll go to the outside. No, not yet. These cars look a little squirrely. Looks like tire wear might be a little bit of an issue.
Oh, contact! 93 goes up into the 5. The 93. Oh, and then Eisenhower gets turned. No. No.
That's not good. I'm going to take a look on the
Problems.
replay here. See exactly what happened. See the 93 comes up into the 5, little bit, gets... Oh, and there's that wrecking right behind them. See Jason Eisenhower.
And then the 78.
And the 78 of Stephen Baird.
Just gets into him. Contact was made. Days are over. But we will have one final restart to decide it all, to be the winner at the Daytona International Speedway. Kevin, this could be one for the ages. Yes, there's only not very many cars left on the track, but this is where drivers are made, champions are made. This should be awesome, Kevin. This should be just fabulous.
Yeah, the one person who couldn't get a break there was Jason Eisenhower. Hopefully he does have a quick repair. I think he might. He's been around in those lingering packs there trying to keep his car clean, but it doesn't seem to have a lot of damage. I'm pretty sure he will come down pit road to get some of that car fixed. We'll see if we have any takers to come down pit road.
I mean, this is just going to be, this is going to be just 1 or 2 lap restart. So these drivers are going to have to use that right pedal and forget about the other 2. This is Daytona. This is one of the greatest tracks on the oval circuit, in my opinion, behind Indianapolis, obviously. But still, if for NASCAR side of things, this is the biggest track of them all. If you can win at Daytona, I mean, that is just... I mean, you put that on your Facebook wall. You put that on your iRacing stat sheet that you won at Daytona. That's how big this is, Kevin. That is how big this track is.
I'll tell you what is bigger. Talladega. Just by a smidge.
Just by that little smidge. But one thing I love about this Daytona as we see these drivers on the backstretch, there are lights. Racing under the lights. I mean, I've seen it in the Rolex 24. It's awesome. I've never been to a NASCAR race under the lights that wasn't a truck or Xfinity Series race. Yeah, this is just, Daytona, can't get much bigger than this.
Yeah, when I went to Daytona a couple years ago for the sprint shootout, it was one of the craziest things ever. Plate racing is a different breed of racing than your regular non-restricted engines. These cars being bunched up here, lots of speed and not a lot of room, margin for error.
Will we see the lights go off here, Kevin, or are we going to wait to another lap?
I believe we're going to wait another lap.
Yep. 2 to green here at Daytona National Speedway, the 2.5 mile super speedway. Bump drafting is where it's at. So Kevin, obviously you want to be either on leading the bottom or the top. If you were in this field, you're starting on the outside, do you think you're gonna have the best chance to win?
No, I would want to pick the inside here. My reason being is that these cars, like I said before earlier in the broadcast, they really don't like to hook up. So it's you can push somebody, but it's gonna be real hard to pass on that outside if you don't have any help. So starting on the inside, I believe, is going to be the best bet for this leader here, Roger Buff.
Yeah, they're only gonna have one lap restart, so I don't think there's quite enough time. To get that run on the outside line. Let's set the
only way you would have to do it is if you would time it right. So Jason Kinzer, he's going to be starting the outside, and that 66 of Bobby Tinch The only way that they're going to make a pass here, Bobby Tinch is going to have to be right up on the bumper of Jason Kinzer on the restart. They're going to have to time it right if they want to make something happen here.
Yeah, Kinzer definitely was great pushing. Let's see if that car is gonna be able to work. Let's take a look at our one lap to go. Let's go through the field for the lead lap cars. Out in front, going to be Roger Buff on the inside. Outside of him will be Jason Kinzer. O'Leary going to be third. Bobby Tinch fourth. Those four were very fast so far. But in fifth is Anthony Smith Jr. And sixth is going to be Jason Eisenhower. Seventh going to be Thomas Labar. Eighth, Matthew Carrera. And that's going to round out your lead lap field. Effinger is 2 laps down, and Barrett is 2 laps down. Both Barrett's in the pits. Effinger is just kind of sitting there. So he's not going to be a factor because there's only 1 lap to go. But it's going to Buff and Kinzer. It's whoever gets the best restart here has the best chance to get the win, Kev.
I think I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see here.
Hunter Johnson says O'Leary's got the best chance to win. That's his bet. My bet is we're gonna see a great finish here at Daytona National Speedway going down that long back straightaway. You see the crowds on the right hand, which they're not there anymore, and a big screen on the left side. The bus stop coming up here for the road course.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised to see that Budweiser Chevrolet in victory lane, and I'm pretty sure everyone knows the reason why.
You run the Budweiser Chevrolet at number 8. If you don't win this race, then you kind of a letdown. But, you know, right now, it's going to be a battle. We got 1 lap to go. Daytona International Speedway. Red Line Racing live on the RSR network. Buff on the inside, Kinzer on the outside, O'Leary inside of row 2. On the outside of row 2 is Bobby Tinch. This is what dreams are made for. Here we go. Pace car going to make that hard left-hand turn in about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pace car in. Green flag is out here at the Daytona National Speedway. Buff gets a terrible restart trying to get help from O'Leary. Kinzer on the outside, no help from him. Eisenhower looks high. Side-by-side action, 3 rows deep. Trying to crowd him. Buff is on the inside, no help from either. Contact! Eisenhower goes down into the 51, but let's stay with the leaders. Contact is made, the 11, the 66, and it's going to be a battle between O'Leary and Buff. Buff goes high, O'Leary goes high. Buff goes low, O'Leary tries to follow. Buff going to go back high, O'Leary going to go back low and go into 3. O'Leary's got to run, driving the Budweiser Chevrolet. What's Buff going to? Buff's going to... O'Leary's going to go high. Buff's going to run him high. Is he going to make a little contact? Coming out of 4. It's going to be a drag race. It's going to be a drag race.
Oh!
They touch.
No,
Buff's gonna win.
no. Roger Buff wins, but that 8 car of PJ O'Leary almost had the win. Looked like he was going to win if the 16 didn't make contact, but Roger Buff is your winner.
They touched. That was, it was a lot of problems with that. We had a lot of contact, but congratulations to Roger Buff. You know, he won the race. PJ O'Leary coming home second, and then the last car on the lead lap is Matthew Carrera. And, let's give big shout out to Carrera. He struggled with that one pit stop he made, and he was falling back to come back and finish podium, Kevin. That's awesome.
Yeah, but a great recovery for him. You see the rest of the results here. In 4th, Jason Kinzer. 5th place, we got Bobby Tinch. 6th, Jason Eisenhower. 7th, Anthony Smith Jr. 8th, Thomas Labar. 9th, Joaquin Effinger. And rounding out your top 10 is Chuck Barrett.
Yeah, definitely. Really strong race. 11th was Stephen Baird, who made contact earlier. Scott Rambler, who was up in front. And then you got Mark Johnson, David Ford, Rocky Tittle, Matthew Almany, Roderick Norman was out in front quite a bit. Tyler Davis, Rob Hayes, David Keys, Marcus Napier, Tony Golda, Tyler Silva, Mickey Tuttle, did not start the race. So, we had 24 cars, start the race, Kevin, 3 on the lead lap. And, that happens. This is racing. I mean, this is Daytona. I mean, people aren't going to be happy with Roger Buff's move, but you know what, Kevin? It's Daytona, and I mean, it's too bad that's how it happened, but no, racing's racing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for PJ O'Leary. It looked like he had this race won, but Roger Buff, he wanted that win very badly. Hopefully we will have some drivers' interviews here. We'll be right back after this commercial break with those interviews.
iRacing, you wanted the best, you got them for abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
Welcome back to the RSR Network, Redline Racing, K&N Cars at Daytona. We have your second place driver, PJ O'Leary. Tell me the emotions that you're going through right now.
Oh man, I don't even know where to start. I mean, me and Roger were having a good battle off of turn number 4. I feel like it was gonna be a good side-by-side battle to the start-finish line to see who would win the race. And it looks like I had it won, and then we made contact. Unfortunately, I overcorrected the car and went straight into the wall, upside down. Spectacular finish. So, man, it's hard. It's hard to lose them like that when you know you had it won.
Audibly upset here. Talk about the race itself. It seems that you have had a strategy there of trying to keep your car clean. You were in a pack of cars there for a little bit, like I said, trying to keep it clean. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was just trying to keep my car clean. That's my goal. I mean, I burned up two of my resets, my fast repairs is what we call them, and I burned them up because I got involved in 2 big wrecks. And one of my friends is messaging me on Skype. I'm sorry about that.
No, you're okay. You're okay.
But this is the first time on air. I'm so nervous right now. I'm sorry. I'm being a fool out of myself.
Oh, don't worry. I'm blushing.
Okay. But I burned up 2 of my fast repairs, and I told my teammate Mark Johnson that I was going to keep my car clean. I was going to run in the back, and we were falling back there for a while and made pit stops, and I felt like I was going to get lapped, and that caution came out, and it really helped me. And I felt like I was back in the hunt. And then, once the green flag flew, Mark got involved in another incident, and I fell back from the pack again. They wrecked again, and I felt like I was back in the hunt. And then that's what inspired the events that happened afterwards. So, yeah, I think the goal was to keep the car clean and try to finish the race and be there in the end to try to win.
Seemed like you had an up and down race. Was going towards the up there at the end of the race, but Roger had other plans. Looks like you almost had that win if the contact wasn't made. But before we send you off tonight, is there anyone you would like to thank over the air?
Yeah, sure. First, I gotta thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for giving me the ability to drive a race car. My teammates, Mark Johnson, Edward Finger from Save the Tatas Racing. All my friends that are watching, my friends Freya and Jordan, my girl Christy. I hope she's watching. If not, she'll probably watch the replay. Probably the man that inspired my paint scheme, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the Earnhardt family for getting me involved in racing. If it wasn't for that family, I wouldn't even be. I don't think I'd be a NASCAR fan. So I think those are probably the main people I gotta thank.
Well, congratulations on your second place finish. I know you wanted that win, but we'll see you next week.
Hey guys, see you next week. Thanks. I'll try to win it next week, I guess.
Take care. And it looks like we have our winner here. Roger Buff, this is KT up in the booth. You got a copy.
Yeah, what's going on, boss man?
Hey man, we've seen you the whole race. We've seen you pretty much at the front. You ended up in the front at the checkered flag. How do you feel right now?
Well, it was a challenge staying up there, man. Right now, I just feel I got mixed feelings, man, about wrecking them. I wasn't trying to wreck them by no means, man. I raced with them fellas a couple times before, and we worked in, other lobbies together and stuff. They'll get a little private channel, we'd work together. So, it was by no means on purpose. I was just trying to steal a little bit of momentum. It's sad to see something like that happen, especially to a fellow believing in the Lord or anything. It was a fight out there on the outside, but I just did what I thought it would took to win, but I didn't think it would take wrecking them. I didn't mean to do all that now.
You hear Roger Buff is a little bit upset here with himself. Didn't want to get into the 8-car PJ O'Leary. But talk about your race throughout the day. A lot of wrecks happening. You've been involved in some. Talk about the racing throughout the race.
It was fun, man. It was fun. I mean, trying to stay out in front was a challenge. We got just try different lines. Once I got up front, I know that I was going to be okay. But I seen one of my teammates, Thomas LeBar and Jason Kinzer. They was out there, and Bobby Tinch, their teammate also. But I tried out on the outside, and since I took that outside, man, it was a fight. It was a fight from then on until I got back up there.
You were my favorites throughout the whole race. I picked you to win throughout the middle of the broadcast. You actually did come away with the win here. And before we send you off tonight, is there anyone you would like to thank?
Well, first and foremost, you got to thank the good Lord above, man. We wouldn't be here without him and his sacrifices, and got to thank Jason for putting this thing together in the broadcast booth, man. Y'all doing pretty good. And my team, Underground Racing with Jay Kinzer and Thomas LeBar and Zach Hill for the paint scheme, man. Shoot, I'd like to, get back out here and maybe put on another good show out here and maybe not have to something so unfortunate to happen for me to win. I mean, I didn't want to win that bad. I don't get $1,000 million for it. So,
well, congratulations on that first place finish. I understand that you're not feeling a little too happy about that, but a win's a win, and we'll see you next time here on the RSR Network, Redline Racing. Your winner here at Daytona, Roger Buff. Thank you, Roger.
Lord willing, we'll see you later, bud.
And thank you, everybody, for joining us here tonight. I'm your broadcaster, Kevin Trzynski, and alongside with me in the booth is your man, Avery McDonald. We say goodnight here from Daytona International Speedway. The Redline Racing K&N cars at Daytona. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is Dirt Racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, IndyCar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. Thanks to iRacing's dynamic track system, developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the World of Outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, Legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the Dirt Revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.